What's going on, everybody? It's your boy FluffaNuttah back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, this is a movie I have actually watched before. It's been a long time since I've watched it, and unlike First Class, this was one of my first introductions to the character of Wolverine. I believe I watched this movie because I was on a real Wolverine kick, and I had actually read one of the OG comic books where I learned he originally had bone claws, which was really cool. I can't remember the comic off the top of my head. I'll have to go out and find it. But I really enjoyed that comic a lot, and that's what really got me to dive deeper into Wolverine himself. I was never really a big fan of the X-Men. However, I'm giving the X-Men a real good shot here. I remember this movie for two reasons. Number one, this is when I discovered that Wolverine is brothers to Sabretooth, which, cool. I actually didn't mind him in this movie. He was really good. I just felt like he could have been utilized more at the end, but I understand like they went the whole brother route. And number two, I remember what they did to Deadpool. And I know who Deadpool was. I knew who Deadpool was before this movie when I originally watched it, because I had played the Deadpool game, and I had started reading the comics, and he's always been fucking hilarious, and all that good stuff. And then rewatching it just reaffirmed how fucked up they did. They fucked up Deadpool heavy, 100%. But other than that, this movie wasn't actually that bad. This definitely, among the movies that I have reviewed so far, this one is actually up there for me with Captain America: Brave New World, and just how I don't want to say it was shitty, but unlike Howard the Duck, where that was fun shitty, this one. This one has some stuff that it didn't land with me, and I'm sure a lot of people resonate with that feeling as well. But before I get into today's video, please do hit that like button. It really does let me know that you guys like the video. Also, comment down below what you thought of this movie, how glad you are that they fixed Deadpool and got to see Wolverine later in Deadpool and Wolverine, and all that good stuff down in the comments below. I do try my best to respond to you guys as best as I can. And hit that subscribe button, because it really does help me know that you guys are enjoying the content and want to see more from me. Please do hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot. Thank you so much. And let's get it into the video. So I don't know if I'm going to actually do a full on breakdown like I usually do. This is probably going to be a shorter video, mostly because usually when it comes to movies that don't really land with me, I don't really retain a lot of the information being displayed as I usually do. Like, I'm not as invested in it, and I was invested a lot through this up until like certain points, and I'll try my best to cover the basic plot point breakdown like I usually do, but it's not going to be as long or as detailed. So the movie starts out with us getting a young Logan who is sick in bed, and his father is there comforting him. He also has a brother who is there, and originally I thought his brother was going to kill him because he was jealous that he was getting his father's attention, because I knew they were brothers, but like then there's a big debate going down, well, like a heated argument going downstairs in this like house, way back in like olden times. I believe it's supposed to be like pre-Civil War is when this is supposed to take place, so maybe like a Western or something, way older, because I know that's where they come from, is around the Civil War, because they end up fighting in the Civil War eventually, and that's really detailed in the comics, and this is pretty true to the comics for the most part, apart from a few like a few major deviancies, or a few areas where they deviate from the comics. And he hears his dad yelling downstairs. Once his dad goes downstairs to see what's going on, a gunshot's heard. He rushes down to go check on his dad. His dad has been shot. He then gets so angry that he reveals that he's a mutant and uses his bone claws for the first time and kills the guy that shot his father. Turns out that the guy that shot his father was actually his father, and the other guy was lying about being his father. And yeah, so he just killed his real dad. And yeah, so then this causes Logan to go run off. His brother overhears this and goes and chases him down, and then they just stick together because they're both mutants. And yeah, so they run away from home. They're being chased down, hunted down, and they survive all the way up to the Civil War. Then they go to the World War I, World War II, and then Vietnam is where things start taking a turn because Sabretooth starts getting a little bit more mean, more aggressive, and starts killing military personnel. This causes Wolverine to get involved because he's trying to stop his brother, but then they're trying to kill his brother, so he's being loyal to his brother. And they get shot down and put into confinement because they can't be killed, so they just leave them in confinement. This military guy named Stryker comes along and offers them a deal to get out of this place if they work for him, because he knows they've got extraordinary abilities. They then form a group of people, kind of like an offshoot X-Men team. I don't know what this task force was called. I don't think they ever had a name, but I know this consists of Logan, this consists of Sabretooth, this consists of a guy named Zero, this consists of course, Deadpool. He's not Deadpool yet, he's just called Wade Wilson. He's a mercenary. And it also consists of a guy named Fred, who is pretty strong, and it also consists of a guy, I believe, that goes by the name of Spectre. And I think there's also a guy, I don't remember what his name is, but it's the guy from Lord of the Rings. He also ends up in Quantum Break, but he's in this too. And I really like him as an actor, so that was cool to see him. And I believe that's the team, as well as Stryker. And they're here at this facility, and they're trying to get something for Stryker. So they, of course, show off all of their abilities and stuff. At this point, Wolverine still has his bone claws, and so each of the members actually get a little bit of time to shine on their way to this facility. And at the facility, they all show off what they're able to do. And they make it to the top floor of this building where the team try to get whatever it is that Stryker wants. And, at this point, one of the things that stood out for me during this particular area was how much they showed off Wade before, like, he's never seen again, which is sad because, great character, underutilized in this movie, and we'll get to the rest of it. You all probably know already what I'm about to talk about later on. And then, so they're there because originally the guy thinks that he's gonna be killed by Stryker, but Stryker's like, no, I want whatever the hell this rock is. And he tells, the guy at the desk tells Stryker where to find the village where the rock was taken from. And then they go to the village, and then they round everybody up. And Stryker's trying to get information. Wade is speaking in their language, and he's able to translate what they're saying. And they're being told to tell them where they got the rock. It ends up being a meteor fragment, and they're trying to find out the exact location. And if they don't get that location, they're going to start killing everybody. Wolverine, rightfully so, says that it's wrong. I'm not going to do this. This is bullshit. And they all kind of like have an argument, and then he's like, no. And Sabretooth steps in and is like, are you serious right now? You're going to ruin this for us. We got a good thing going on here. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's either I'm going and you come with me, or I'm just going. So you choose. Sabretooth decides to stay. Everybody else stays as well. And then Wolverine walks off, being the better man. And then he ends up in the Canadian Alps, I believe, with a school teacher that he falls in love with. We get a nice little view of where he's staying at, what he's doing now. A few years have gone by, I believe. I don't remember how many exactly, but a few years go by. He he's staying with this school teacher. He's in love. He's got his own little life. He's a lumberjack now. Things are good. He's not killing anybody. He's off just being a normal dude. And, things are going well and dandy. And then we cut to Sabretooth, who is apparently hunting down the other members of this group they used to run around with. And we got a scene of a carnival with the guy from Lord of the Rings, who is able to control technology, I think. He has an influence over them, and he's like a carnival freak, like one that you would go to pay money to, and he does cool little tricks, but they're not tricks because he's a mutant. And he's back at home, and then Victor shows up, which is Sabretooth, and then Victor ends up killing this guy, and he's going around hunting down everybody. And then Stryker shows up one day at the lumber mill, or I don't even think it's a mill, but it's where he's working as a lumberjack. He shows up to Logan, and he's like, hey dude, someone's hunting down our old squad, and you just need to be careful. Zero's there as well. The interaction between Wolverine and Zero was actually pretty fucking hilarious. I loved the banter between the two, and it really makes you not like Zero, because he's a dickhead, and it really does a good job at showing off that. And all the remarks that Wolverine makes to him are fucking hilarious. But Wolverine basically tells them both to fuck off, and respectfully so, and then he goes back to doing his shit. Well, one day, while he's at work, he notices something's wrong. He can sense that something's going wrong with his love interest, Kayla, I believe. And then he goes and tries to make sure she's okay. However, his brother Sabretooth supposedly kills Kayla dead, and this pisses Wolverine off to the point where he is on a warpath to go try to hunt his brother down, because he's going to kill his brother, and rightfully so. This was very emotional. I completely forgot that this was even a part of the movie, and it actually shocked me when they killed her off, because I was like, damn, that's fucking wild. And it really got me more focused on the movie, because at this point I was feeling like it was kind of mid. But this is where it started, the interaction, the scenes with Logan just by himself, I really fucked with more than when he was around everybody else. I don't know why. Maybe that's just because how I am. Maybe I just fuck with Wolverine more. I think it's just because I fuck with Wolverine more, and the way they portrayed everybody else I didn't like. But I'll get to the parts where I liked him around other people. It's where it starts to pick up. But yeah, so he goes on a warpath, hunts down Sabretooth. They fight. Sabretooth breaks off part of Wolverine's bone claws, which I was wondering if that was going to happen, because I've always wondered that, because bones can break pretty easy. So I've always wondered if his bone claws could break, and they did that in this movie, which I thought was really cool, because I was literally sitting there thinking about it right before he does it while they were fighting. Would have actually been cooler if he stabs him and then tries to go to yank him out, but it fucking breaks off on him and leaves the pieces inside of fucking his brother. That would have been interesting and a little bit of a cool detail, but whatever. And then he goes into the hospital. Stryker runs into him again, because he's still on the warpath, and he's like, listen, you're not going to be able to kill Sabretooth, but we have a way for you to do it. Agree to do an experiment with us, and I promise it'll give you the reason to go on revenge and kill him, and you'll be finally able to get revenge. And so Logan accepts, but only if Stryker stays out of his way so he can kill his brother. And we get to see Weapon X, which is how Wolverine gets the adamantium claws, because the adamantium gets infused with the skeleton. He almost dies. He ends up coming back to life. Zero makes a fucking comment oh, so he can die. And then he comes back up, but they're trying to erase his memory. And Wolverine's like, fuck no, because I'm going to forget about my girl Kayla, and he's like, I'm not doing that shit. Fuck no. And so he gets up, fucking goes and runs out of the building, and he's pissed off. Originally he starts killing everybody, but then he runs off, and then he goes and escapes the facility and ends up on some farmhouse. The interaction between him and the farmhouse owners, it's an old lady and an old man. It's pretty cool. I liked seeing them interact and having this nice down moment where he's like, just trying to be normal for a bit, but then it always ends up getting fucked because, you know, they're putting their son's clothes on him because he's got no clothes. He's basically been running around the woods fucking naked like an animal. And that theme gets brought up a lot where they're trying to keep Logan from going like full like animalistic like beast mode, essentially. But, you know, he keeps himself pretty tame in this movie for the most part, which probably takes a lot of control. But yeah, so he's, you know, talking to this married couple, and, you know, they're treating him nice. They're basically treating him like a son. And then he gets a motorcycle from the dad, or like the old man, and they're talking in the barn, and then the wife comes out with some lemonade and stuff, and they're being all chill until Zero comes in and fucking kills both the old man and the old woman. Basically, like, just shatters that completely. The dude, you know it's bad when I can feel how pissed off Logan is, because it pissed me off, bro. Like, that shit pissed me off when Zero did that, which means that it was good writing. Fuck him, and, you know, fuck that. That was such bullshit. Anyways, I was rooting for fucking Wolverine to kill this motherfucker. And I was not disappointed. So this pisses off Wolverine. They start to bomb the barn, and he gets out with the motorcycle. And there's a chase scene that goes down with a helicopter and a Humvee. Well, Wolverine ends up taking out the Humvee, using the Humvee to launch himself up with the helicopter. Very badass. The helicopter crashes. Zero's still alive. He then lets Stryker know that he's coming for him. He can go fuck himself. And then Zero makes one fucking dumbass comment before Wolverine uses his new claws to fucking light the ground, like start sparks with the rocks on the gravel, and uses that to spark the gasoline that's been dripping from the chopper, and the chopper explodes and he doesn't look at it. Cool guys don't look at explosions type moment. Very fucking badass. Very cool. While he was in Weapon X, he had learned that there was an island that Stryker worked on, and he's probably trying to get to that island. So what does he do next? Well, he goes back to the rest of his buddies to see if they're alive. So he goes to Spectre, talks to Spectre. Spectre's like, listen, I don't know nothing about no island, but Fred, big boy Fred, would probably know. And then Fred has actually ended up gaining a few pounds, and by me and a few, he's fucking huge. And Spectre goes and takes Wolverine to Fred. He ends up boxing Fred to get information out of him. And then Fred's like, listen, I don't know where the island is, but I know someone who does. They introduce Gambit. Wolverine and Spectre goes off to find Gambit. While Wolverine is talking to Gambit, Spectre goes outside to make sure that Gambit doesn't try to leave out the bag. While he's back there, Spectre runs into Sabretooth. Sabretooth kills Spectre by ripping out his spine because he's predictable. Very sad. I actually kind of fucked with Spectre. I hope that's his name too. I'm assuming that's his name because it was in big letters where the fuck he was. So I'm assuming that was Spectre. So don't flame me too much. I don't know much about the X-Men. But yeah, Wolverine gets into a fight with Gambit because he brings up Strikers. Gambit thinks that Wolverine's trying to take him back to the island, but, you know, he gets it twisted, and they fight. This leads Wolverine to get knocked into the back alley where he sees Sabretooth hovering over Spectre's body. This pisses him off. They fight again. Wolverine's got the upper hand due to his metal claws. However, Gambit steps in and continues to beat the shit out of Wolverine until Wolverine gets pissed off and starts going after him now because Sabretooth runs away. So they fight, and Gambit pretty much takes the L. And he's like, look, I can kill you right now, but I'm just trying to get back to the island so I can kill Stryker and kill my brother and all this shit. And he's like, oh, well, why don't you just lead with that? Type thing. And so they get into a plane because Gambit had won it, you know, due to him being like a swindler, a con artist. And so yeah, they fly over to the island. Wolverine hops off, and Gambit presumably has left to go fuck off, basically, while he goes to the island. He gets to the island, and he's about to kill Stryker when Stryker's like, listen, man, you don't want to do that because you won't know the truth. And then as soon as he says that, Kayla walks in. She didn't end up actually dying. They faked her death. She was also a mutant who, when she would touch somebody, she could get them to do whatever she wanted. And Stryker's like putting it in Logan's head that it was a lie. This is a very emotional scene. Kind of threw me for a loop because I had forgot this was even in the movie. Very cool. I actually liked this. I liked the turmoil they put Wolverine. Oh, why am I like that? Why do I like him being depressed? I just think that just makes him more of a badass because it's the fact that he uses that, right? That's what makes him badass to me. He takes the depression, uses it to fuel himself, and he just fucking goes ham. But yeah, so that's essentially what he does here too. He learns that it was all a ruse, or so he thinks, and you know, it's very emotional. And he's like, well, because there was a story they played with. That's how he gets the name the Wolverine. He thought he was her Wolverine, but then he brings up the fact that she was the trickster. Very emotional if you understood the story. I'm not quoting it word for word. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I just remembered the important part of that. So then he walks off like a badass, you know, fucking tears in his eyes, just basically saying, fuck it, I don't care anymore. And then he could have just left the island, and that would have been such a fucking big dick move to make that the end of the movie. I mean, it'd be very anticlimactic, don't get me wrong, but what they're working on, while Logan interrupts them, they're working on Weapon 11, and it's Deadpool. They bring up Deadpool, and it's still just as annoying as the first time I watched it. But Sabretooth overhears everything going on. He's like, hey, you're not gonna let me fucking kill him? Like, that was a part of the fucking plan, man. And Kayla was also like, I did everything you asked. Can you let me and my sister go now? Like, what are you fucking doing? And Stryker's like, listen, bitches, like, y'all work for me. You're gonna stop this shit. And Sabretooth's like, well, let me get the adamantium. I'll fucking take his ass. I'll whoop his ass. And he's like, you won't survive if you take the adamantium. He's like, fuck you. Yeah, I will. I'm his brother. I can do the same shit he can. And it's like, no, you can't. You'll get your chance. He's like, fuck you. And then Kayla had walked off, apparently, or some shit. And Sabretooth attacks Kayla. That's what it was. Sabretooth attacks Kayla, and Logan hears Kayla scream, and he goes and attacks Sabretooth. They fight again. Logan pretty much has the upper hand and wins, and almost kills him before Kayla stops him from going full beast mode. And so he just knocks him out cold and then walks off. They have a heart-to-heart again. She actually did love him, and that Stryker was just fucking with him. And she's like, please help me get my sister. And then he goes and helps free not only her sister, but all the other mutants that Stryker was experimenting on, because he's trying to create a super weapon mutant killer. Because, you know, fuck mutants, right? That's the whole point with the X-Men. I'm pretty sure that's like one of the biggest plot points, is like either fuck the X-Men or the mutants are the best race in master supremacy or whatever the fuck. And yeah, so they free all the mutants, and he separates himself from the mutants because as they're trying to escape, Stryker releases Deadpool. And it's not the Deadpool we all know and love. It's the one that he always fucking makes fun of in the movies. And respectfully so, because fuck this version of Deadpool. I do not know why they thought that was a good fucking idea. Number one, to sew his mouth shut. Number two, to do the thing with the diamonds in his eyes. Number three, to make him fucking like Wolverine and have katanas sticking out of his arms instead of him actually using katanas. what the fuck are we doing here? Like, the only cool part about this version of Deadpool is that he teleports. And what I remember about the video games is he has a little belt that lets him teleport. So actually see that in one of the movies is actually really cool. I was kind of hoping he would eventually get that in the Ryan Reynolds standalone Deadpool movies, which we will also get to at some point, but not yet. Yeah, so he ends up fighting Deadpool while the other mutants are trying to escape. Kayla is with those other mutants until she eventually gets shot. She has them go on without her. She stays behind, I think, just so she can say goodbye to Wolverine. And, yeah, so he ends up fighting Deadpool for a really long time and almost gets fucking clapped until Sabretooth comes and saves his ass. And he's like, the only one that can kill you is me. We're going to do this together. They go back to back, like they did in the wars and stuff. And it was really cool to see them fight with each other, even though it's probably, you know, not as hype. It would have been cooler if, like, he saved him just so he would start fighting him and then fucking have to fight Wolverine, like, Deadpool and, like, they all three start fighting each other. Like, that would have been pretty fucking fire, I can't lie. But no, we get them working together, which is kind of anticlimactic. That would have been more fucking badass and would have taken me out of, you know, them having to fight this shitty ass fucking Deadpool. They end up fucking getting the upper hand on Deadpool, and they cut his head off. He destroys, like, the fucking facility with his laser eyes because they take it from Scott, who is Cyclops. And yeah, it's just best to forget this part of the movie. It's just, the less we talk about it, the better the rest of the movie gets, you know? Yeah, so they get well and done, and then Sabretooth goes and fucks off, you know, just cause, making a line about, oh, you know, we're still brothers, we gotta look out for each other, you can't ever be rid of me, blah, blah, blah. Wolverine hears Kayla screaming for help, and he goes to her, and he's like, I'm gonna get you out of here. And then he goes and runs off with Kayla. They almost make it out until Stryker comes out with adamantium bullets and a revolver and fucking shoots Wolverine in the back. He drops Kayla on the ground and then goes on a warpath trying to kill fucking Stryker. Stryker shoots him in the head twice, and this erases his memories, which to me is bullshit. Bullshit. And I fucking did not like that. I mean, I understand why they did that, so he forgets stuff, but it's the doesn't sit right with me, dog. It doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, so Stryker then goes up to Kayla and is about to kill Kayla, but then Kayla makes him put the gun underneath his chin, and she's like, I should make you pull the trigger, but that would make us just like you, wouldn't it? And I want you to go walk until your feet bleed and keep walking. And then so that's what he does. He just keeps walking, and presumably until his feet bleeds, and then he's gonna keep walking until basically he just fucks off into nothing. Yeah, so then the other mutants manage to escape. Scott the entire time was being told where to go, even though he can't see. And the other people are like, what the fuck? How do you know where to go? You can't fucking see. He's like, listen, just trust me. And so they make it. Professor X is there. He's not in a wheelchair because this is an alternate universe, which is really fucking with me, but it's to get the basic ideas of stuff down, of how potentially it went down. You know, that's why I started with First Class, and then now we're starting with this, and then we're going to go into the original X-Men movie next. So hopefully this will make a little bit more sense when I watch that. Yeah, so they end up going to Professor X, and let's see. Wolverine wakes up, and he's like wondering who the fuck he is. He looks at the name tags, sees Logan, and on the other side it says Wolverine. And then Gambit comes back, helps him up. He's like, hey, what's going on? And Wolverine's like, who the fuck are you? I don't know who the fuck you are. And he's like, look, I'm a friend. I helped you get here. He's like, well, yeah, you're my friend. What's my name? And he goes, it's slogan. And so, yeah, they basically fuck off. They go their separate ways. He realizes Kayla's dead. He doesn't remember her. And that's pretty much the movie. That's how it ends. But yeah, that's basically how the movie ends. And, I don't know. I didn't fuck with the ending too much. Yeah, I didn't find myself fucking with the ending too much. I liked a lot of the movie, but there's quite a bit I didn't like. Mostly just the Deadpool thing. And I don't know. It was okay. The story was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, I guess it didn't need to be that great, but like compared to First Class, this kind of I don't know, it just didn't connect with me all too well. I think mostly it was the ending for me that I didn't like. I think that's pretty much the only thing I really didn't like, because if I focus on any other part of this movie, like there's a lot that I did like, and like a lot of it just knowing how it built up and what the ending is, like kind of makes the rest of the movie kind of fucked, because this is where it leads to. And yeah, that's the best way I could explain how I feel about this. If I had to rate this movie out of 10, I would probably give this movie a solid 6.5, because this is kind of very bottom of the barrel. Or no, I wouldn't say bottom of the barrel. I would kind of say this is just mid. Honestly, it's mid. It's good up until the ending. The ending makes it feel so much mid, and yeah, it loses all of its like fucking flair when you know where it leads to, and that's how it ends. I think that's what really shoots the movie in the foot, so to speak. So that's my review on Wolverine Origins. Yeah, it's it definitely is a movie, but I'm pretty sure that the X-Men movies are gonna be way better. So we're gonna start doing those now, because the list that I'm looking at on how to watch them, you know, I probably should have just watched them in release order. Probably would have been the best way to do it, but whatever, man. Like, the way I'm doing it is okay. Because now we're getting into the X-Men stuff, and I'm pretty sure this is where it's going to start picking up, and it's going to start being fucking fantastic. We'll see, though. I'll have a few of these reviews coming. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and you'll stay up to date with all of my future videos, whether they be Marvel, X-Men, DC, Avengers, whatever it is, you'll be able to find it. Deuces, everybody. Bye-bye.